What's going on, people? Welcome to the brand new show. Gooners Therapy linking up with Fire Them Cannons. This is going to go down in history in this YouTube space. In my opinion, we've got one of the best Arsenal content creators in Anton, and of course myself, Positive Dan. Now, listen, from the start of the season when we first met each other, we were both very optimistic and both firmly believed Arsenal would win the Premier League even before the season started. And today, we're here to explain to you guys why we always knew Arsenal would win the Premier League. But firstly, to everyone watching on Gooners Therapy, I want to introduce you to Anton from Fire Them Cannons. If you're watching on my channel, please do go and subscribe to his channel over there. And of course, if you're watching on Fire Them, I'll let Anton brief his viewers.
Yeah, no, yeah. Um, as everyone kind of knows, I've had a bit of a change in personnel on my channel, so it's good to now have the Anton and Cal show now replaced by the Dan and Anton show, which we'll be doing every week now, with collaboration with us and Gooners Therapy. Yes, it's about big bat time. The two of the most positive Gooners there is on the internet finally linking up. Both of us have been big chested since the start of the season, and yeah, I think we're just gonna kind of spend the next 45 minutes or so just giving you an insight into like why we felt the way we have felt throughout the whole year, now that it seems as if it's almost inevitable that we're going to win the title. To kind of give you guys an insight into our brains and why we've been so positive the whole year. And of course, I think we'll get into like the big game that's tonight as well, right, Dan?
Yeah, look, massive game tonight. It's a humongous game. We will touch on that for sure. I'm going to be there. I literally, I've just got that feeling of waking up on a match day. Listen, you're going to be obviously watching it in Australia, but it's still the feeling of when Arsenal are playing is just, sometimes I don't go to the away games, and it's still, just you're kind of the first thing on your mind when you wake up is the Arsenal game. But firstly, the Premier League, listen, we've just kind of done this show last minute. We're going to be more prepared next week. Trust me, we're going to be more prepared. But I was just going through some of my stuff last night, some of my first videos, and the reason I said I thought we would win the Premier League. And of course, there's the famous viral clip of me saying that I actually potentially keyword, believe we could go the season unbeaten. And now, listen, we lost to Liverpool and the clip went viral. And it looked like at that point, Liverpool, they had won every game and everyone thought Liverpool were going to win the Premier League before we beat Newcastle. If we would have lost that, and I think who were they playing? Liverpool were playing
Liverpool played
Palace.
Palace.
Palace, exactly. And they were expected to win, and they thought Arsenal would lose, and they'd go 8 points clear. And listen, that was a pivotal weekend in the Premier League. But now, I mean, if I would have said on that day, I think we can win the quadruple, it probably would have sounded more outlandish than perhaps going unbeaten, right? Because
I think well that's never been done in the history of football. And to be honest, I I never thought we win the quadruple as positive I've been the whole year, but yeah, all of a sudden I'm starting to get into your line of thinking, Dan. If you really just kind of, and I broke this down with Seb a week ago as well. You kind of look at all the competitions. I know Terry went ahead and said, "Oh, there's a 3% chance if you look at probability of all of them together." But I think kind of had to just look at them all separately. Like obviously tonight is a big part, and we have to get through tonight, and we have the one on the weekend, which is a big part. So this week is defining for me in terms of if that dream were to occur, because I do think that one is in the bag already. Um, but that would be crazy. And the FA Cup, the Southampton is the game after that. When we come back from the international break, it's also huge. So if we win the next three games, Dan, all of a sudden we're into a semi-final of the FA Cup. We'd be into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Probably play Bodo Glimt. That'll be a tough away game though, but I do expect us to be able to beat them at the end of the day. And then we would have potentially be the champions of the Carabao Cup, and we would have the Premier League basically within our grasp. Like it's not ridiculous.
yeah, listen, look, I mean, right now, listen, trust me, rival fans are shitting themselves because it's a huge possibility. Now, listen, we were talking yesterday. We had Marty on. I expect us to go through, but tonight. very, really do expect us to go through. But it's a game of football. Of course, anything can happen. But Sunday is more where anything really can happen. Someone could get sent off. We haven't. I saw a stat today. We haven't conceded one penalty in the Premier League. We could give away a penalty. Anything can happen in a final. Manchester City have got players. Haaland could just turn up and beat beyond one. They've got Rodri, a Ballon d'Or winner. Anything can happen. I think Arsenal are going to win. We're definitely the favourites. But anything can happen, and then that's one trophy gone. And listen, it doesn't matter, even if that does happen. As long as we win the Premier League this season, it's going to be one of the best seasons in our history. If there's a film called Fever Pitch, I'm not sure if you've seen it, Anton. Have you seen?
I don't think I
If you
have,
haven't,
no.
if you haven't seen it, please watch it as soon as possible. Watch it because it's about a
Will do.
school teacher from North London. Him and his girlfriend he's seeing at the time, and basically it's the longest Arsenal had been without winning a league title. It's when we won it in '89, and the film goes on this fan's journey watching the season. It's a brilliant film, and if you watch it, it's just how it was 18 years then. So that '89 title, obviously, nothing will ever top that. Going to Anfield, it would be like us being neck and neck with City now and having to go away and win 2-0 on the last day, and scoring in the last minute. It's better than the Aguero moment. It's only because it
Mm.
happened before.
Yeah, Mickey
Before,
Thomas, yeah?
yeah, Mickey Thomas. Yeah, it's only because it happened before Sky and all that. You don't see it as much. But the the point I'm getting to is it was 18 years. So this Premier League title will hit better than any Premier League title that we've ever won. Because when we
You know
won it in
what?
'98,
You know what else I love as well? Yeah, you were to say, but 2000 the Will Tour one we won at Old Trafford. We
we
had
won it at Old
also
Trafford.
in that one. It's just like a combination of the both, right? We went 3 years finishing second, second, second.
Yeah, yeah, we did. But the thing is with that, right? Obviously, winning at Old Trafford was amazing, and in '98 we won the double. But in '98, we'd won the league 7 years before that in '91, the year I was born. We won it in
Mm.
'89, so we weren't. It'd been a while, but it hadn't been that long, right? The longest it's ever been was 18 years, and now it's obviously been 22 years. So this Premier League title, when you finish second, like you just alluded to, when you finish second 3 times in a row, it's always going to hit so much more. That when you're trying to do something in life and you can't do it, it's just like even if you're trying to get a bird, you're really trying.
Mm.
In your younger days, and you're trying and trying, and then you finally smash, right? It feels better, right? Anything that you work towards, that you really have to work towards, that you have to fight for, and when things go wrong, this team has shown so much mental strength, and I wanted to win it. People talk about Man City getting deducted points. I don't want them to get deducted any points. Save that for
Mm.
next season or for whenever. And I want Pep Guardiola to be there. I want the student to come and beat the master. And it's a great story. It's a fantastic story. And listen, we're not over the line yet. But the reason why I said we'd win the Premier League, and this is before we'd even made all our signings, I just felt like we were the strongest, most physical team. And I just felt like it was time. The time had come. As like John Cena says, my time is now, and our time is now. And I remember me and Dan at the start of the season. This is when in Capier, who we'll come on to, by the way, when he was first being rumoured with Arsenal. But I was talking about Skelly or Calafiori, and obviously Skelly was brilliant last season, and Dan said he wanted Skelly to be playing, and I said it'd be Calafiori. The reason why I thought it'd be Calafiori is because he's a man. Because he's a man, and this is what Arteta's done.
Mm.
He's gonna got men, and I think we're gonna show it a little bit in a minute. But Thierry Henry and Jamie Carragher were going through the signings that we made, and if you just there was always men, there was always big, strong men, and people that are 6 foot, people that are gonna fight for the badge. And every season, there was a one or two at the start. You had like your Congas, certain players that didn't work out, but most of the core main signings have worked out. Most of them, and obviously Liverpool spent all that money, which everyone made them favourites, and everyone that Man City went and got Turkey. I remember them beating someone 6-0 in the Club World Cup, and suddenly everyone was like, "Oh, Man City are back," and then they ended up going out to El Attihad or one of them teams, whoever it
It
was.
was exact. It was El Attihad, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then people kind of changed their mind, but I just felt again, finishing
Or
second
Al
three times
Hilal.
in a
Sorry,
row.
sorry, Al
Al
Hilal. That's what it
Hilal.
was.
And what it was that the year before, I always go back to the 23-24 season, not even the 22-23. I go to the 23. That's what made me believe we could win it. Because last
Mm.
season, I don't care what anyone said, 27 injuries. It was crazy. Like Arteta said in his press conference, we'd never seen anything like it. So I just felt because if we could get to 89 points one season without all of these signings, right? Just remember, it was only Mikel Merino that came in the season after we got to 89 points. Mikel Merino, Calafiori, and of course Sterling that didn't work, right? So now you're adding on the 7 players that we signed on top of that team. I said there's no reason we can't get to 89 points again. And listen, if we win our next 7 games, we'll finish on 91 points. And that would actually be a record for Arsenal because the Invincibles got to 90 points. Anyway, big up everyone in the chat.
Oh
Just
yeah, we
want to
got
get
him.
some of these comments
So
out.
Sahal says 04, 90 points, 02, 87 points, 2026, we could end up on
There you
91.
go.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Dan just said it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No name G
Yeah.
at Triple Eight laughing. I think he was laughing at something about California being a man or something you were saying.
Yeah. Look, listen, always comes and shows love. I think it's actually a lady, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
I hope it is
And we
anyway.
got 22, 23, great start. 23,
Yeah.
24, great end. Well,
Yeah.
I had a name for this year, which I think I wanna say because I'm gonna go on to my thoughts and they're kind of very similar to kind of what Dan was thinking, but a little slightly different. 2020 no 2003 2004 our last Premier League title, right? We were the Invincibles because of course we didn't lose a game, obvious answer. For me, I felt this season, and you can feel it through the media, you can feel it through the rival fear, you can just feel it through the last few years of where this thing was going under Mikel Arteta, that it was only inevitable before it was going to happen. So this season's team, and by the way, both me and Dan said it, that when we overtook Liverpool this season, we're never dropping out of first for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And both of us said that. And I was on and Realist Gooner, your regular co-host, said, "Don't you dare say it! Don't say it!" And I'm like, "No, I am going to say it. We are not dropping out of first for the rest of the season." And the reason why it was so easy to see that is because I just knew that there is a formula for consistency that Arsenal had that no other team in the league has. You look at Manchester City, right? As good as they've been going forward, they are very vulnerable going back. They don't control games. Like even some of the worst teams I've seen this season they've faced have gotten spaces and get into behind them. With Arsenal, when we seem to concede goals or had our bad moments, it's due to our own mistakes, really. Like I think back to the Wolves equalizer. Have Gabriel not gotten into the path of Raya, then Raya doesn't drop the ball. And then what happens after that? Raya then goes ahead of Gabriel, which means that, Calafiori and Gabriel, what can't they do that Raya can do? They can't use their hands. So therefore, they're in a vulnerable position, and we can see the goal. That's through our own mistakes. Zubamendi gives the ball to Mbumo in the Man United game. That's through our own mistakes. There are so many of them, but Arsenal have always been in control. And we've been that way when we were fit. We've been that way when we were fit last season and in that 23-24 season before that. This is what I saw. I saw the catalog of injuries that we had last season. We went into last season with the expectation of, hey, we should be the team that if City doesn't win it, we should win it. And Liverpool did. And in credit to them, and I'm not going to take anything away from Liverpool, they did. But there was something inside me that goes, man, if had this team just stayed healthy, and we had Bukayo Saka healthy, Calafiori, who we bought, wasn't barely able to play last season. 27 first team injuries. It was insane. And I'm just like, if this team could just somewhat stay healthy, I think we'll have a chance. But the other part about it, and it was the Andrea Berta part, and it was right after, by the way, to start off with, the run we made in the Champions League with Mikel Merino starting up front with the amount of injuries we had. Gabriel was out. Jakub Kivior was starting.
Yeah.
And we still went to Real Madrid and won home and away. And I'm like, this team, if we actually have some add some quality to this team, I think that they are so well coached that no one will be able to handle us. And yeah, then I looked at the team and I saw Berta come in. By the way, the first link I saw with Victor Gyökeres, and I'm like, okay, he's actually going to get a striker, which Edu refused to do over for some reason over a number of years. I knew that Edu was going out. I knew that Vinay was going out. And look, you see right now, Edu just got sacked from Fulham. Not Fulham, from Nottingham Forest. Vinay's got Tottenham almost relegated historically, right?
He's being linked with Tottenham Edu now as well. That's
Right.
yeah,
So you
that made me
see,
chuckle.
that's what Mikel Arteta had to deal with in terms of his
Mm.
football directors. He brought a real football director in this season. You saw a confirmation. Here we go of Zubamendi in season last year. I'm like, this team is doing the business. And I saw the links, of course, to Gyökeres, and then the links at the time it was to Nico Williams. And I'm like, well, if Arsenal had Gyökeres, Nico Williams, and Zubamendi just alone, that type of quality brings Arsenal to the next level. Now we
Great
got
comment here from Sahaudo here. If Donnarumma wasn't saving all those shots, we would have won the Champions League. And do you know what? It's funny that he says that because when I watched the Champions League final, I think it was 6-0 in it. Was it 5 or 6-0 PSG to Inter
I
Milan, which is
think it was
crazy
5-0.
to see that in a
Yeah.
final. And my dad called me and just said, if we'd got past PSG, we would have slaughtered this Inter Milan team as well.
But
And I'm
we did
making
it.
right.
We did it on their ground,
Yeah.
in the next season.
So I mean, people don't realize quite how close we was. Donnarumma making great saves. People like to go back to a long throw on because we took a couple of long throw ons away in Paris. I was there at the game. Listen, we had chances in that game as well. We were missing Party for the first leg, and obviously we had Mikel
We're
Merino up
missing
front.
Jorginho as well. So when Partey was out,
Exactly.
Jorginho was gone. Which is
Yeah.
why, and I'm seeing people moan on each of these signings one individually. Oh, Norgard, what are we? I'm going to Norgard for like we got rid of Partey and we're getting Norgard. I'm not realizing that Zubamendi already was going to be the starter. I don't even know the commentary on that, but I heard plenty of us complain about that. The Madueke thing, and look, I got that one wrong. I wanted to be able to have both Rodrigo and Eze, and that Madueke thing sort of killed that dream. But Madueke, every time Saka's been out, has stepped up. There are arguments sometimes whether Madueke should start ahead of Saka. Saka struggled this season. We're probably not where we are without Noni Madueke. Like and in just the cherry on top of the cake, we actually got Ebere Eze. And on that day, I actually went on the football terrace, and Hassam, who's sitting there with, all super confident because his Liverpool team is buying Isak and buying Verts and thinking they're invincible. And I said, now that we bought Eze, we're the best squad in Europe. And I'm being laughed. Oh, these Arsenal fans are so deluded. And me and Dan said it a few times on these shows, and people are laughing at us. And it's funny, Dan, because you know how a lot of people go, hey, if somebody told me X, Y, and Z, I would have thought you were crazy. Well, I think that's what me and Dan have been. That we're just
Yeah.
that guy. We just had the foresight to see it before it happened. And yeah, look,
Also,
obviously
Anton, I'd say
throughout,
we
yeah,
were not scared to be wrong. We were not
yeah.
scared to be wrong at all. That's the main thing. We were not scared to be wrong. Put our chest out, said exactly what we feel, and backed our club. It's what people keep saying to me. Oh, why are you getting ahead of yourself? Why are you getting ahead of yourself? You think Arsenal are going to? Why just be calm? I'm like, hold on. I predicted this before the season started. So now we've gone 10 points
Well, that
clear. Why the
changed.
hell? Why the hell would I not get excited? Do you know what I mean? I've enjoyed every moment of the season, even the lows. Yeah, as much as they've hurt me. The comeback from that. Every time we've had a setback, we've gone and won 3 or 4 games on the spin. What is it now? 4 Premier League wins in a row after our setback. So
Yeah, but
listen,
the craziest stat is well, how many games have we played now? We've got 17 left out of 6 we've played. 48 games this season, 3 defeats.
mm, exactly.
So it
And
means
there's
in
still yet
45 games, we either won or draw the season.
yet there's still some fans who are still saying, "Oh, I'm still a bit nervous." And listen, look, it's natural to be nervous. Of course, it is. It is natural to be nervous as football fans. Even when I get into the stadium at Everton was the first time I started to think in my head. You start thinking all
Mm.
sorts when we can't score and being there in the emotion of the game. It was yeah, it was. Listen, we all get there, but I've always believed that we will win the Premier League. And if you look at what we've done, what Arteta's built this team to do. He's built this team to win in a variety of different ways. If you want to come and play football with us, we will we'll smoke you. You'll leave so many gaps open and we'll smoke. If you want to come and sit in, we'll play that game with you too, and we'll score a corner and see how you like it. There's so many different ways that this team can win a game of football. And people talk about not having a world class attack. Well, imagine when that attack does fully click, because we've also scored the most goals in the Premier League. We've scored the
Mm.
most goals. Well, we had scored the most goals in the Champions League. I'm not sure now after Bayern put six past Atalanta, but in the league phase, we had scored the most. And listen, it's not always been the most entertaining football, but after 22 years, like Thierry Henry said in his interview with Carragher yesterday, we want to win. First and foremost, we want to win, and
Yeah,
that's
look,
exactly what
and
we're doing.
yeah, and look, I'm I was I think I forgot who I was saying that. I think I was talking to this to Jake on the post game show, and I can understand why a lot of us, who are very very nervous when you haven't seen your team win for a long time, you just can get you can it can get anxious. It's too good to be
Mm,
true sometimes. Maybe I'm privileged a little bit because I watch multiple sports. I've seen my NBA team, my NFL team go over the line and get it done. But I tell you, my NFL team criticized last year because they had the ugliest play in football. They try to get it banned. Oh, this is an ugly way. Their offense sucks. Even like 2 games before the end, before they won it. Now the offense is too bad for them to be able to go ahead and win the Super Bowl. Fast forward 2 weeks later, they won it. It's the same thing with Arsenal. When you
mm,
win that first one, you just have to do whatever it takes to win. You got to find that winning formula, and people are going to criticize it for being ugly because they are trying to give you bad advice. That's all it is. Hey, why don't Arsenal open up a little bit more? Oh, you want us to have less control in games and be able to be open? Okay, sure. Well, why do you guys score too many goals from set pieces? Well, from my point of view, we used to draw too many games. We used to struggle to break teams down. Set pieces is just a cheat code in a way to be able to turn 1 point into three. There's no reason why we should be complaining about any of this. And it's so beautiful. Like, again, at the end of the day, when this thing is said and done and we're holding up the Premier League trophy and I believe multiple others this season, we'll be able to go back and retell the story and look at it in a different light because, yeah,
mm. Do you know what
like,
makes me laugh as well, Anton? You see, us David was live the other day, right? And David Speaks Football. Go on, subscribe to him if
my,
you're
my good friend, yeah.
yeah. And they're talking about Bruno, whether Bruno should get Player of the Year, and talking about Bruno breaking the assist record. And I looked today, out of these 16 assists, only seven are from open play. So, I mean, you got Man United fans getting salty about corners, but then they're bigging up Bruno for having 16 assists, but only seven are from open play. When Thierry Henry got the record, shares it with De Bruyne. De Bruyne had 17 from open play, three from set pieces. Omri had 20, all 20 from open play. And it's just really funny. And, it's funny to see Man United fans getting giddy and get a bit excited about how well Bruno's playing. And perhaps maybe that one of their players might get Player of the Year. It wouldn't bother me the slightest if you got Player of the Year, as long as we've
I
got the
don't. I
Premier
don't
League
really care as
trophy.
long as we're
And
winning with the
but
actual. Yeah.
it's crazy that they're getting excited. Man United fans are getting excited about the possibility, of one of their players winning an individual award. And I was just like, Royal, imagine you was on for the quad, guys, because that's the sort of excitement we're in. Anyway, I do you want to because
Yeah. Let's go
we're
through. Yeah, let's go through some of these comments
yeah,
real quick. Um. So Hal goes. Calafiori is a man. Scaly is young. He needs to develop and
yeah,
work hard in training. Yeah. Again, and again, I see a lot of people getting worried that he doesn't play enough. He just like Max, just like Ethan. Still a teenager. He's gonna have. There's another generation of Arsenal players coming through that we've been given a nice sneak peek for in the last couple of years. We've been privileged enough to see that. But those are the future of the team. I wouldn't be worried about him because eventually he will be a man, and I think he's gonna be a great player, Miles Lewis Skelly, and I actually think he'll be a midfielder rather than a left back. Big up. I hope we win all our games, but there are 7 good teams. Don't be surprised if we lost one or draw, but we have to keep believing and back our team. Come on, you Gunners. Well, at the moment, we can do both and still win the Premier League. We only need really 5 wins officially and a draw. So, of course, if we get that draw, and then we win. I think I said before this Everton game that if we had won all of our home games and then drew at Man City, that would be enough to win the league. And I still think that's the case. if I'm not mistaken. Um, if we play the way we played last year with the team we have this year, we can do this. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Mm.
we were out of first for like 2 hours in December. That's it. Yeah, again on technicality. Now we're talking about more like at the end of the match day when we wrap up the match week. Who's at top of the league? It was always Arsenal since we went to first. Big up Dan. Yeah, big up to Tyrell every time, man. He is always in. He's always with you, man, as well.
Yeah,
On the
go and check
Gooners
out his
Therapy.
channel, guys. Go and check out his channel, man. Good stuff over there, man.
Yeah. I don't blame the injuries last season. We had 14 draws. We dropped so many points in winning positions. Yeah, agreed. 1,000%, which is why we needed to strengthen and add a striker. You saw hey Dan, what did Victor Gyökeres do on Saturday? Did he turn a draw into a win?
Of course he did. Of course he did. Of course he did. And listen, still, I had the argument with Dan. I was in the car driving. I was talking about the show, and I was like, "We're going to speak about Dalman." Then I was like, "Obviously, then we have to come to Yokeres." He was like, "No, it's just all Dalman." I was like, "No, we have to speak about Yokeres." He was when Dan, it was 2 yards out. I said, "But yes, that's what we've been crying out for. These are the goals I want Victor Yokeres to score."
But what did the
Because
team do for 89
last
minutes?
year,
Nobody was putting the ball in the back of the net.
and last year, no one else was there in that. Listen, people don't realize you have to be in the right position to score that goal. Another player, Havertz, I'm Havertz's biggest fan, but he probably wouldn't have been in that position. He probably would have been drifting out somewhere, or I don't know what he would have been doing. But that listen, as a striker, I used to play up front. Trust me, that goal you love more than anything because it's perfect. It's just there. You've been smart enough to get yourself in that position, and it's an easy goal. And it's listen, if Max Dalman doesn't score that goal after, we're all saying Gyökeres has won us that game, which really and truly, I know Dalman come on and changed the game 100%, but Gyökeres was the man who put the vital goal in the back of the net, whether it was from 2 yards or 100 yards, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. By the way, this one I agree by Sahal 100%. I think this is what something that people don't really see is it's always about the journey, where you were and where you're going. And last season, for us to be going to two semifinals was actually progression on previous season in terms of cup competitions. Like in the Champions League, we would going out in this stage what we're in tonight so many years going by. We would run into the giants of the world and go through. For us to be able to beat Real Madrid home and away last year and make it to that semi-final was just a massive hurdle in our history. And yeah, the Newcastle ones were bad, but it was the first time since I believe we played Chelsea in like 2019 or 2000, well, under Wenger, where we won a semi-final in the Carabao Cup. So like, yeah, again, you have to kind of we're always getting so caught up in if you're not first, you're last. That you got that a
Mm,
whole, but you have to see where we were at and where we were going. And this year we pushed it even further, and now it looks like we're gonna actually finish with some trophies, which is fantastic. If Donnarumma wasn't saving all those shots, we would have won the Champions League. Yeah, you mentioned this one already. What
mm,
are your boy score predictions for today? Well, on the show last night, I think I said
mm.
4-1 and you said 4-0.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just going to be listen. I just think the atmosphere, the energy. When Arteta first came to Arsenal, what I liked most about him is he obviously understood Arsenal because he'd been at Arsenal, he'd captained Arsenal to win an FA Cup, and he said, I want to connect with the fans. I want there to be energy. He wanted to connect with the fans. He wanted the stadium to feel the connection with the players. He wanted the fans and the players and the manager and the staff and everyone in the area and every fan to feel that connection with the players. And by the way you do that is you get players that are going to play for the badge. You get players that are not going to be prima donnas. You got players that are going to run for the badge. You get players that are going to buy into the system, that are going to believe in the process. And all of these players have believed in Mikel Arteta. Because a lot of times in football now, that players get sick of it. Oh, we finished second. They turn on the manager. They stop playing for the manager. There's a lot of players that don't play regularly, but they've all bought into what Mikel does. Even you saw Skelly the other day jumping up. I noticed he was one of the most ecstatic guys for Dalman. And listen, he's probably his friend, of course he is, and he's younger than him and all of that. But still, he's just built a togetherness, and it started to change. The year we finished fifth is when it really started to change.
Yeah,
And
the
let's not,
documentary year, yeah.
yeah, that exactly that. Now let's not forget we had been beaten by Tottenham badly, 3-0 at White Hart Lane under Conte by our rivals, right? Tottenham finishing above us. But at the end of that season, though, everyone was kind of like, I can see what he's doing here, though. We saw some really good football. We had some good games. And obviously, we were back in Europe. And then the year after that, we went from fifth to second. We were top for 97% of the league, and everyone was believing. And then this is when some people stopped believing because of the whole 8 point lead thing. It's very similar to the scenario we're in now. There was 8 games to go. I remember on Mother's Day, I took my mum to our first match at the Emirates, and we beat Crystal Palace 4-1. Bukayo Saka and Tierney and everyone. It was beautiful football. And we all know what
Mm.
happened after that. But the thing is, there's a misconception because we had the youngest team in Premier League in the Premier League that year, and we had to play Manchester City, and they had a game in hand. So,
Hmm.
anyway, it's very similar now because we still have to play them, and they have a game in hand.
I was
Now it's
actually
nine
looking at
points.
that, Dan. You know,
Yeah.
the last two games, the game against again, one of the last two games. Obviously, we just had Everton. The game before that was Brighton away. In that season, the Brighton away was the same match week as Liverpool away, and this last one, Everton one, was the same
Mm,
match week as West Ham away.
there you go.
So put that together, those were both draws. This
Yeah.
year, they're both wins in that same
Hmm.
position. And that is what tells me that we're not going to be bottling the lead because from that point on, the next one with Southampton, which was a 3-3 draw, that's going to be our Bournemouth game. And then we had City, right? And
Mm.
then City beat us 4-1. But
They ain't fucking beating us 4-1 this time. I can tell you that.
yeah.
I can
So
tell you
like
that for nothing.
and after that, we actually got back on the horse and we started winning. I'm pretty sure we smashed Chelsea up at home, if I recall. Like
No,
we
that
had
was
some
the that
horrid.
that.
We had
No, that
yeah.
that was the year later. That was the year later.
No, because I'm pretty sure
And,
we beat Newcastle and Chelsea. We beat Newcastle at St
oh,
James's Park.
we might have maybe we beat Chelsea. But the year we smashed them was the year after 5-0. We
No,
may
yeah,
have
but I think
beat
we won
them.
like three
Oh, I
nil or
think no,
something.
you're right. No, you're 3-1. You're right. It was three
Yeah,
one. You're right.
yeah, and
You're right.
we
Yeah,
went to St James's Park and won 3-0.
you
But
won.
then
You won.
we got
Won
smashed
two
up at
0
home by Brighton and
Yeah.
um was it Nottingham Forest that we drew to and gave City the league? But I think at this point in time, I think you could tell this is a whole different kettle of fish. I wouldn't be worried about
Yeah, we
that at this
lost 1
point.
0 to Forest. That was it. Yeah, it was horrible. It was
But
horrible
yeah,
stuff.
let's keep through going through some of these comments. That Rice chance and Odegaard chance, Saka chance, second leg, the first Martinelli chance and Trossard. Oh, we're still talking about the ones that Donnarumma was so good he kept
Mm.
them in. Big up, people. Big up to you, Ash Ketchum. Hope you're still catching more of those Pokemon. That was a really shit joke. Oh, excited or nervous for today, dude? I'm excited. Ever since that, I want to see more football. Actually, I keep telling Dan, I think that we're gonna play with freedom without the anxiety. I actually am
I
really excited to see the Emirates
mm,
today. I feel it.
that 3-0 Brighton. Oh my god! that I actually forgot about that game.
Mm,
I actually forgot about that game. God, from being in the title race to how good. That's when you knew they were just done. 3-0 lost at home to Brighton. Oh my god. Why did you remind me of that? That was horrible, man. Big up every single person in the chat. Make sure if you're watching on Goodness Therapy, you go and subscribe to Fire Them Cannons. And if you're watching on Fire Them Cannons, come and subscribe to Goodness Therapy. Thank you to everyone who's in the comments. Ooh, there's a nice one here. Arteta versus Klopp
which
debate.
where
Well,
was the? Ah, here we go.
what I'll say on this
Kavon.
is Klopp was there for 9 years and he won every trophy: a Premier League, one Champions League. I'm not sure if he got one FA Cup, maybe two Carabao Cups. Anyway, Arteta could potentially do the four of them in his seventh season, and he's already got one FA Cup. So, listen, I've had this take with someone before, and it was actually Shane Gooner, and he said he's live now as well. And he said that if Arteta was to win a couple of Premier Leagues and a Champions League and a Carabao Cup, in the next 2 years, it still wouldn't be that great for 8, 9, 10 years. And I said, well, what about Jurgen Klopp? Because he won every trophy, but he didn't win them multiple times in 9 years, and he's one of the greats. And he said, oh no, I thought what he's done is overrated as well. And I was just like, wow, some
Look,
people just, I don't know.
is he one of those what's it called, standards FC guys?
Yes, he is very much is. He's a good guy though. He's a good guy, but yeah, listen. Like, to be fair to him, he's actually been given Arteta credit. I couldn't believe it when I saw it pop up the other day. Arteta gets subs right. Um, Back today though, and he's live now, decrepin Arteta. So yeah, he's back
I mean,
to.
look, to be honest, I was saying it the other day on the terrace. I'm like, moment of silence now for all the Arteta outers, because you know.
I mean, look, I said it yesterday on the show, Anton. 21 goals from subs, goals and assists combined from subs, seven more than second place Brighton. So it just shows, honestly, it just shows how well Mikel Arteta's done this year. If that's Pep Guardiola or that's another manager now, that's being stats being shown everywhere. A big up Match of the Day for showing it. Match of the Day is the only level-headed. It's the only one. Like, even when we lost to Wolves and that, lost. When we drew to Wolves, even when we had
I know. Oh,
setbacks.
you always say lost. I
I
always
know,
do that. I'm
I
like, why
know,
the fuck
I
do you keep
know,
doing that?
I know. It's like when Chelsea beat us in that 1-1 draw, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, listen, Match of the Day was always very like, it's just a blip in the road. They're still going to bounce back from it. And it is all about how you bounce back from things. But listen, tonight, Champions League, Leverkusen. Last time we played them at Highbury, beat them 4-1. Thierry Henry, Pires, Henry, and Bergkamp. Bergkamp scored an absolute worldie. If you haven't seen it, guys, write it in. Arsenal 4, Leverkusen 1. Anton's gone for the repeat scoreline today. If we get through Leverkusen, Anton, it looks like we're going to be playing Bodo Glimt. Now, Bodo, there's a ex-Italian footballer who goes to the same gym as mine, and he told me about the Norway. He told me a few years ago that Norway is the next team, the next country of bringing out the next best footballers. He scouts all over the world in Europe, and he just said, "Oh, Norway, the way they play football, they're going to be a real team." And listen, they've qualified for their first World Cup since I don't know when it was, 98 or whenever it was. Obviously, they've got Haaland, one of the best strikers in the world, not in great form now, but they've got Odegaard, our captain, and now Bodo Glint. They've knocked out Inter Milan, beat them home and away. And I was looking today, their price today, they're 4-1 to beat Sporting Lisbon after just beating them 3-0. So the bookies keep giving. It's like Leicester, when every week they still wasn't favourites. And if you put money on Leicester every week, I remember they were 5-1 to beat City when they were like clear of them. They went and beat them 3-0, or I think it
I
might have
remember
ended
that
3-1,
game.
but they were 3-0 up. Yeah. So Bodo Glimt, man, listen, look, don't want to count our chickens before, because we're not through yet. So it's a bit disrespectful to Leverkusen. But if we were to go through tonight, and we had to play Bodo, I mean, listen, even if we lost 2-0 away, you'd expect us to go through at home. But I
But
mean,
2-0 away would be, that would, for me, that wouldn't be a scoreline that I feel like our fan base is going to accept. Like,
no,
I can
listen,
see
but
it now.
listen,
You know what I mean?
of course, but as long as we turn it around in that home leg, I would always fancy us to go through, even if we were to lose 2-0 over there. But what do you think about that? It's probably this. Listen, we'll just briefly go on it because next week we'll probably talk about it because
We have to get through
hopefully,
by Leverkusen. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
channel my inner negative Dan, but like, what are you doing, Dan? We gotta
yeah.
beat Leverkusen first. You're getting ahead of yourself.
But just quickly though, how tricky do you think that game would be?
For me, it's all about the away leg, honestly, because I think we're beating them at home. I think we're beating everybody we play at home at the Emirates in the second legs. It's gonna, again, I keep bringing this up, and this is why I didn't have an issue with the result last week against Leverkusen. Like, as long as we came out of there with a draw and we can bring him back to our place, I'm feeling confident. For me, guys, get ready for some Arteta sitting back, some stinking it out. Because to be honest, what Bodo Glimt loves to do more than anything else in the world, which is take advantage of teams who underestimate them and hit them on the counterattack. Teams come out, they go after them. They think, oh, this is Bodo Glimt. They get very frustrated, going forward. They leave holes up open at the back and they punish them on the break. They've been elite. I would almost say counterattacking at home. For us, we just even if we're side to side, recycle, 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 and it's a 0-0 draw away at the North Pole, um, as Jay like to say. And by the way, big up Jake. He's in the chat. He goes, "Yo, big up Dan and Anton every time. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, people. Let's get the channel to 1,000 subs so fast. Come
And
on. Well,
he's
Dan's already
just
passed 1,000 subs. He's talking about me.
yeah, get us to two
um,
thousand and get Anton to 1,000, man. I just wanted to read out Cup Chasers. That's
yeah,
true,
that's
Dan.
Jay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true, Dan. But the bookies do things like that when it's a knockout tie, like Sporting will win and Bodo go through. I know, trust me, I know. But they Inter Milan, they beat Inter Milan 3-1, and they were like 6-1 to go to the San Siro and win. And what happened? They went and beat them. I fancy them to go and beat Sporting Lisbon
yeah.
today.
I wanted Sporting Lisbon because I just wanted that Victor Gyökeres reunion. You know what I mean? For him to go
Yeah, we
back to
beat them
Lisbon.
5-1
I
recently
thought
as
he
well,
was going
didn't
to be
we?
bagging a hat trick in
Mm.
Lisbon, back in his backyard, but not to be. I don't think. I do think that Bodo
Hey,
will
look,
get through.
there's an interesting question there. Would you take losing to Leverkusen if it meant we beat City on Sunday? Absolutely not.
No, no, never taking the Carabao Cup over the Champions League
No
ever.
way. No way.
Like,
No way in
like
hell.
I think I don't know if you agree with me, but the narrative has been recently, whoever wins the Carabao Cup will go on to win the league. Will be a huge one. I actually think at this point in time, given the way things are going in the league, I don't think it changes a thing.
No, now
Okay,
it doesn't.
yeah, I don't think it
But it
changes
will just
anything.
put that extra bit of pressure on us psychologically, going into that game against Bournemouth. Luckily there's an international break.
Yeah.
Going into that after City, they might just get in our minds a bit if they beat us to a trophy. It, it, it could seep in, or we could come back with a vengeance.
The only thing I would say more about that than the actual trophy, which is killing Man City off completely mentally. Like
Mm,
they're going to
yeah,
go out probably tomorrow out of the Champions League. Sunday, or Saturday it was for you guys, I think. He basically kissed goodbye to the Premier League. And if we go and we knock him out head to head in the Carabao Cup, I mean, and then they got to go to Anfield to. I mean, not no, they sorry, Liverpool come to them, but they have to play Liverpool in the FA Cup, and it could go from a quadruple charge season to trophyless within a matter of weeks for them. And I think that's the most important thing is just let's just kill them off. If you have any
yeah,
chance, you have to go ahead and beat them. And then of course we play them at their ground. By the time we play that game, they could be completely in on the beach. It might be a nothing sort of game for them, and it could be for us. The game that puts us on the brink. But I think that's more what it is for me than actually winning the Carabao Cup. Actually,
yeah.
I mean,
Look,
obviously
listen.
it's good to win the trophy, but
No, listen, no, I want that trophy more than anything. Someone said it in the chat. We've only actually won it twice in history. I was 2 years old. I've never seen it. It's one trophy I've never seen us win. I saw Wenger put out, weakened teams for years and years. I'm really glad that we're in the final. I like to win that first trophy. It's at Wembley. I will be at Wembley. It was quite a difficult decision because I've been asked to go and be on the main panel for AFTV in the Super like watch party, and I was
mm,
very tempted, but having a ticket to a final, they're so hard. They're so hard to get a ticket to that final, and I need to be in that stadium.
you're good to be on
You
your
know,
fan cam afterwards anyway, Dan.
yeah,
Like,
I'll do my fan cam outside the stadium, which is going to slap way more than in a box park or
but
wherever it might
something
be.
Jake has been in the comment section. Jake said something to me the other day, which people have forgotten about this cup final, which is Gahey's not available for City, which I think is going to be
Yeah,
absolutely massive.
true.
People are thinking this is a 50-50. I'm pretty confident of us winning because of that fact. Like you
Yeah,
see how they leak goals the other way. I mean, I feel like if they have any chance in winning it, they're going to probably try to deploy what they did when they came to the Emirates, in my opinion. And we'll see how that goes. But I think that's a massive out for them.
yeah. I mean, someone here saying that we didn't class it as a major last season. I don't know where they're getting this from. The Carabao
Well,
Cup. All I've ever said about the Carabao Cup is that is a fact. It's the fourth, you know, least important. But This year, I actually said it was more important than the FA Cup because it would give us that psychological edge. And whether, listen, it will help us in the Premier League, but I think we're going to win that anyway, even if we were to lose it. But if we have an FA Cup final or a Champions League final, and they've already won one final against a Pep Guardiola's Man City side, let's say we've got Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or whoever it might be in the final, and we've already won a final, it'll be great for our players. It'll be
See,
absolutely great for our
this is
players.
this is where that quad thing comes in, Dan, and which I think why I think it's really realistic. Like if we get to these finals, because if you look how the schedule is put out, I think that we're winning the Premier League, which again gives us a chance now as we get toward the end. Hopefully, it's actually wrapped up. I think it'll be wrapped up after the Newcastle game if Chelsea beat them at Stamford Bridge in the next. I think, and then we beat them head to head. It'll be over at Newcastle. That would be great for us because we're able to rotate and rest players. You got the FA Cup actually the week before the final game of the season. Then you have the final game of the season, and then you have but after the season is wrapped up and we would have already won all the other trophies, you have an entire week off and you go into that Champions League. And if you've already won 3 trophies going into that Champions League final game, we've gotten over the hurdle of winning the Premier League and we would be in that champ. It's like free swing.
I'll tell you what, it'd be a strange feeling though, wouldn't it? Like you'd be really disappointed, but your team would just want to treble. But on the last day of the season, you feel disappointed. And listen, the next day would be the parade because what they would do with the parade is if we're in a Champions League final, they won't do it straight after we because this year the FA Cup final is actually before the last day, the penultimate game of the Premier League season. So if we don't make the Champions League final, the parade will be on the day after the day after we win the Premier League. But yeah, if we are in the Champions League final, then they will delay the parade. So you'd be having a parade the day after not winning the Champions League. But listen, look, you wouldn't care. You know, you would get over it and you'd celebrate the 3 trophies, the domestic treble that Arsenal's never done in their history, and it'd be unbelievable. And listen, even if it was just the Premier League, you know, if we didn't win the FA Cup and didn't win the Carabao Cup, there's nothing that's going to stop me. And this is the rival fans will be like, oh, you could have won this and you bottled it. That will actually start, you know, which is crazy.
Bottled doing the one thing that no other team in the history of football has done.
Yeah, exactly. But you know how people are. You know how this space is. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, just exactly. Just give me that Premier League, and I'll be over the moon. But I do want that Carabao Cup to go with it this Sunday. You
Yeah.
know, it's a big week for Arsenal Football Club, and it started really well with Everton. And I think it's only going to get better. I think we put
Yeah. I
Leverkusen
mean,
to the sword tonight.
let's hope that we're not looking like idiots in 24 hours time, man. Like,
No, we won't be. We won't be. Don't worry about that, man. We won't be. We've done it all season, Anton. So let's keep going, man. We're not going to
yeah,
stop,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
You know, come and join us here. We're hoping to now do this show every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. And listen, even in the summer, we'll be back with it. We'll do transfer rumors. We're gonna have plans. I know once me and Anton knock our heads together, I think we're gonna make this show good.
Yeah.
You know, what we're gonna do as well is we want to go through some of the things in the media. I want to get clips up here because I watch Talksport all the time. I watch Sky Sports. There's probably a lot of
Me and you
Australian
are built
channels you
built
watch.
to bark back, aren't we, man?
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. You know, there's a clip that I wanted to actually get up of Agbong Lahore.
Oh my
And
God, he did the diamond dirty yesterday,
do you know what I mean? Like, what the hell is that about? That is just it's
dude. He said,
listen,
did you see
a
the
rage
guy
being.
on Terry player on Killing the Game? He was saying, oh, Max Dowman scored that because he's 16, and the Everton players could have knocked him out, but they didn't want to be the one to knock out a 16-year-old, and they didn't want to stop him from scoring his goal. I'm like, what the fuck are you coming up with nowadays? Like
Yeah,
the abs, like it's actually great, and I think we should enjoy it more
yeah,
because
we should,
the
we should.
saltiness is absolutely ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
it's the
and I
defeat.
mean,
It's the defeated men. Like
John Obi Mikel, like, I actually just laugh at him. It doesn't irritate me. I just laugh. I just laugh and think, this guy, man, like, come on, man. How low can you get? You're an ex-professional footballer. Why would you just want to be trying to get under fans' skin? You know, that's not your job. That's not
the
your
funny
forte.
part
You know,
is that Jeremy Bikel played for Mourinho. Like
listen, and Dalman at 16 has scored the same amount of goals than him. than he's ever scored in the Premier League, and he was in the Premier League for about 10 years.
Wait,
So yeah,
Agbon Lahore? No
no,
way.
no, no, Abonglo, Mikel, John Edwin
Oh,
Mikel.
Johnny McHale.
He only got one goal. Yeah, he only got one goal. But
He's
yeah,
salty. We slapped him in the cup final. Oh yeah,
4-0.
that was
Yeah,
with
Theo
Alexis
Walcott,
Sanchez and Theo Walcott. My
your mate
man.
Theo Walcott getting there. Can you just explain that then? How you met Theo Walcott? How did that
Oh
all
yeah,
come about?
so we had an event here. So it was hosted by Stan Sport, um, which is the main network that shows the Premier League here. And they flew Theo Walcott out. It's the trophy tour. So at the moment, the Premier League trophy is making its way around the world before it heads back to the Emirates. So Theo took it down to Australia. I believe at the end of the week, though, he's headed to Japan. I believe with the trophy afterwards, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we were at an event. The Premier League trophy was there. Everyone had the chance to take pictures with it. The guy who actually is like this, the trophy is its own personal security team. It's funny. He was like briefing us like you cannot touch the trophy with your hands. Only winners are allowed to touch the trophy. He's got these like white gloves that he has to carry them around because the trophy's got to get out of the case and in the case somehow. So yeah, it was just really cool just seeing Bowie, the Max Dowman moment. But like in the pub, Theo Walcott is literally right in front of me. Another gooner who at 16 years
Oh wow,
old,
wow, he was
right?
watching it in the pub.
Literally, you could
You
see
got
he was literally right in
well, you
front.
guys
Dude,
watched you watched
me
the
and my
game with
dad with Theo sitting next to him.
no way, no way.
Yeah, and
Wow,
we hugged him and stuff as well. You could see on his Theo's Instagram. He's like, he's got everyone in the. Like,
wow,
I think it was
that's
the next
amazing.
best thing to your
Yeah,
experience,
definitely.
which is
Yeah.
obviously being at the ground. But yeah, he was had a pre-match analysis, halftime analysis, post-match, and Theo just had so much insight and told so many stories about the days at the Emirates and he was the best teammates he ever played with. Which is funny, he didn't actually include Thierry Henry in that list, which I find interesting considering that
Yeah,
like
but I think it's only because he played 3 games with him in it when he
yeah, but he
came
was
back
saying
from.
his best ever teammate, like most talented ever teammate he had, which I thought was an interesting answer, was he said Mesut Ozil, and next to that
Mm,
was Cesc Fabregas and Santi
Cazorla.
Cazorla.
Yeah.
And he was saying because when they passed you the ball, they would literally put it always in the right spaces every single time. It was never out of place, the passes. And he was saying like with hindsight, Arsenal did Ozil a bit dirty in terms of giving him too many responsibilities to have to do kind of what Odegaard does now, but he obviously just doesn't have that ability and he doesn't have that sort of work rate. But he was saying in the games where we platformed him and we I think we would play with like a Francis Coquelin with Arteta
Mm,
behind him. He would have some of his best games. Man United at home, Chelsea at home. We had the game that we won against Bayern in the Champions League in the group stages. Some of his best performances
mm.
were happened when we platformed him, and he feels like we never did it enough. And after a while, like he just kind of there were a lot of things going on in his life personally that kind of derailed him. And he said, like, I'm not going to tell you. I know exactly what was going on in his life. I'm not going to share that with any of you. But he was the greatest player that I have ever played with. And he was talking about Max Dowman, and he was saying Mesut Ozil on the ball is what Max Dowman does. The cross control, the reading of the game,
Mm.
the IQ was
Yeah,
next
there's no
level.
doubt.
And
When I was at the Emirates, watching Ozil, it was a pure joy to watch. Listen, there was frustrating times more in the away games, but at home, I thought he was always sensational. Now, obviously, Thierry Henry, Walcott would have only played 5 minutes with him here and there when he came back for his return on loan. So, and that's a different Thierry Henry to the Henry prime Thierry Henry, who is no doubt our greatest player. The only person close to him is Dennis Bergkamp. But listen, it's been emotional. It's been a good show. I do have to
mhm,
shoot now,
yeah,
but like I said, JT's just put in the comments, damn boys, you really need to use the Discord or a schedule. We will be. We're going to improve.
yeah.
We promise we're
We
going to
were trying to
improve.
figure out the multi stream on the multi channels and all type of stuff. So we're gonna get our shit together in the week. We need to put together an intro, really.
We need to do
Um,
something, an intro, and also so I can read the comments out. I don't know. We might have to do one week where you're sharing mine or
yeah, I think
something like
we'll
that.
and then
Yeah,
yeah, we'll talk
interchange.
about that off the air, not in front of all the good people. But
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
sort something
we'll
out.
we'll definitely do that. I just want to read some of the yeah, Jake in here every time. Wenger hung his last rebuild on Ozil, but never realized that asking him to work hard against the ball was never going to work. He was amazing at Madrid because he didn't have to work on the defensive on defense. That's true. The days that Ozil did decide to work for the team, we were unplayable. Absolutely, I agree.
Mm.
Um, JT's offering to create us a Discord. Are you? So,
Yeah,
but no,
please do.
but guys, it will be just to make it simple. We don't even need a Discord. It's going to be every
Yeah,
single Tuesday at 10 a.m. UK time. Um, which yeah, kind of falls in line with when I would do Fire Them Cannons with Cal. So it's
so
almost
brilliant.
around the similar time. So it works perfectly for me. Good pod lads would say, you know, what would you say some of the challenges in growing the pod are, and best of luck for the rest of the season? Well, Dan, I mean, one of the biggest challenges obviously is when you start out and growing an audience. And sometimes you sit here and you're having to stream in front of zero or one or two people, and you
Mm.
have to kind of value the people who were there at the beginning and give them a voice so they, and yeah, just making all the content and the time life gets in the way. You got, you try to get guests on and trying to coordinate people's schedules. I reckon that's the toughest parts. What do you say, Dan? But we'll get going. But yeah, maybe give them a
Yeah,
moment
no,
of
no, I'll
insight.
just echo what you say, man, 100%, and like I said, look, this is the first show at this time. So, I mean, obviously we do our shows on Monday nights, so we're going to try and make it different to Monday nights, and we're going to try and touch on different things. So, listen, it's hard to try and to to come up with things because there's so many podcasts, right? There's so many different podcasts, and a lot of people are talking about the same stuff. So we want to try and make this a bit different. But yeah, tune in, guys. Get your notifications on. Get your
Yeah,
notifications on, and you will know when we are live. It will pop
guys,
up that we are live.
you don't realize this is like something that I think is a long time in the making. Me next to Igal, I'd say me and Dan have pissed off most people
Mm.
on the internet, like who hate Arsenal, and so like this is like a pretty star studded podcast between the two of us. Like it is it's something that I've been really wanting to be able to put together for a long time. We've been talking about it for
We
months.
have, we have, yeah.
And we were like, imagine what it would be like if just the two of us just slammed it out. And by the way, big ups to Negative Dan or Realist Gooner who does the Gooner's therapy with you every time. He's also box office. So
And
um
listen, Anton, just this next Tuesday, obviously, it will be the aftermath after the cup final. So
mm,
we'll be going over that and looking forward, and we'll be going over the Leverkusen game. So I think next Tuesday will be a good show. So make sure that you tune in. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. I want to thank you all for watching. And listen, Arsenal, let's go and reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and we will be live tonight after the game. So, I've got to speak with Realist Guna and see what time we're going to go live. But if you get your notifications on, you'll know when we're live. So turn them notifications on. And please, guys, do subscribe to Fire Them Cannons. I'm not sure what you're up to now.
yeah,
Um,
so we're going to be doing a post game a show as well with Jake, who's in the comments section, who's been massive for me since Cal's gone away. By the way, my missus is in the chat.
yes, big up.
By the way, Dan has once have a word with you about me going to the parade.
Yeah, listen, you've got to let him go to the parade. Honestly, you have to let him go to the parade. This man has waited 22 years. I've got a place for him to stay and everything. So make sure you get this man to the parade. He
My
has
brother's
to go to
actually
the parade.
booked tickets there already for last week. He's going with his mate Joey.
Wow.
Yeah, but we'll be live tonight. I've got Anton's Tears coming out and Under Pressure, and we'll be previewing the Premier League games without Arsenal in it. That's going to
Mm,
be an interesting one. I don't know
yeah.
if I can really motivate myself to do it, but I'll have to do it for the love of the content. But yeah, we will be doing all that stuff, and yeah, guys,
Yeah. And you're
let's
right.
make this a long 90 minutes for Bayer Leverkusen tonight.
You're right about the night, not having your phone on all the time. I get that. So we will be live every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. And if it's not 10 a.m., it will be 11 a.m. But most times it's going to be 10 a.m. So please,
JT,
guys,
Ant just not to ruin everything, but we've been there for the whole year. Arsenal are on the top of the tiers. There's no Anton's tiers.
Mm.
No chance, man. It's very fun to do that right now.
Big up, people. Let's go. Thanks for watching. We'll all catch up very, very soon. Yeah, I think you need to end it, bro.
Yeah, all right. See
Yeah.
ya.